This is going to be a guide on how to get ancient emeralds. I've had a few comments about this now, so I figured it'd be good to make a video on this. So first you're going to want to go to the depths, which is right here. You're going to need to have access to B3. Once you get down into B3, there is going to be 3 boss rocks you can mine. Some of these also will spawn in Ginormasia if you get certain areas to very high ranks, but I'm not going to go into that here because those will take a lot more work to set up than going down into the depths. Note, you will need high levels of certain stats in order to get to these. Like, you might need high farming stat, you might need high mining stat, or you might need high woodcutting stat. If you are struggling to get those stats up, I would highly recommend looking into crafting your own gear if you have not done so already, as when you craft your gear, you'll typically end up getting a substantial buff to the stats of your gear. So we are currently heading to the first obstacle that will give you ancient emeralds, which is the Dragon's Claw here. Before I attempt to mine this, I'm going to go open the map up and show you the other two, so if you don't want to watch me mine this, you can just go straight over to the other ones and do it. So first, you enter in here, so then you can turn right and get into this room, and then your options once you get into this room is just to head all the way down into this room here, where there's the graphite deposit. Or you can make a turn and go into this room, which can be the crystalline bass or deep sea lordfish, and then keep going down and then into over here, which is the giant ancient fossil. All 3 of these has a chance of dropping ancient emeralds. I will walk over to them. Well, we're going to start with the Dragon's Claw since that is the closest one to the entrance. If you are struggling to mine these, I'd highly recommend you invest into some of the buddies, because some of those, or the buddies, will make it substantially easier to mine these things. And it's not going to hurt to have buddies all the time. Oh, my buddy broke it, so hopefully we still get it. We didn't get an excellent. And we got at least one there, but my drop rate is also a lot higher than yours, so your drop rate may vary, and you might not get one every time you do one of these, because I'm currently running, I think, over 100% drop rate between my companions, so I'm going to get drops at a much higher consistency than you probably will if you have not set that up. If you want to set that up, you will need to go to Trip and buy, or not Trip, but you'll need to go into the shop in your guild hall. It's the one to your right as soon as you enter. I don't remember what the NPC's name is there, but you'll talk to him, and you'll need to rank him all the way up to 5 stars by doing all the delivery quests. And then once you get it to rank 5, you can get the trip appliques, and then you can start upgrading your drop rate. If you want to try with full RNG, you could just keep recrafting your gear, but generally I would not advise doing that just because it would take a long time, and it's going to take a lot of redux stones if you just keep recrafting your gear, which is a possibility for that, but I'd recommend maxing out your shop, buying the trip appliques, and then having a much more consistent time with getting those items. And then the other thing is, when you're mining these, make sure you get those excellent hits, as you saw I just got there, because it'll make your drops more consistent and more plentiful. As you can see, we got another ancient emerald from that, and then we'll go over to our last one, and hopefully we get an ancient emerald on our first try as well. Although, even if I don't get one, all 3 of these will drop ancient emeralds. So I would highly recommend you go between these on their cooldowns. If you are completing them, all 3 of them, a bit too fast, I would recommend either grabbing this or this fish as well if you can, because that giant's tree over there will be very useful for some of the late game items you craft, and it's just not going to hurt to grab the deep sea lordfish or crystalline bass for progression. Although I think both of those are substantially less useful than the giant's tree or the graphite deposit, dragon's spawn, whatever. as most of these are all required for progression through like the mining life or progression through your woodcutting life or just crafting gear. Sadly, we didn't get our ancient emerald from this, but just know that this one can also drop ancient emeralds, and that I would highly recommend you kind of just hop from objective to objective and try to get as much stuff as you can. I would probably say you should prioritize this one if you don't really want to do fishing, but although all of those are worth it, we have this giant chimera over here, which can drop some resources that you might need for later on. There's the Mohawkosaurus down here, which will also flip to a different boss during a different time of day, and then this stone golem can also become like a ghost golem or something like that and drop some rare stuff, so just things to keep an eye out for. There's a lot of rare stuff in the depths B3 to try to farm out and get resources from. Otherwise, I hope this helped you find out how to get ancient emeralds and some other endgame resources. If this has helped, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.